when I started making music in the beginning, I was making R&B and hip hop. That's when that's 91, between 91 and 94, and that's when I was working with Way Marshall. It was a predominantly the R&B sound, and then I went to Soul, and I was doing the same thing there, slightly, making it a little bit more tailored towards Soul. But the problem I had as a young producer was making something that was, in this country, in England, there's not that many R&B artists back then, especially. We had Lamar, Kelly the Rock to a certain point, but Kelly the Rock wasn't necessarily doing none of them were really doing the R&B that I was into, which is stateside R&B, New Jack Swing kind of style. Our stuff here was a little bit more fused with the pop, what it would have to be to work here. So I had enough of doing that type of music and trying to copy what the Americans were doing, and I wanted to make a type of music that was essentially British. You know what I mean? I wanted to make British music. I felt like drum and bass at the time, jungle and all that, was straight British. That couldn't have come from nowhere else but England. And that's basically because of the West Indian influences in this country, which we don't have in America. Yeah, there's West Indians there, obviously. Biggie Smalls is Jamaican, but he's, born and bred in New York, and his whole thing is American. But he's Jamaican. There's a few rappers who are Jamaican descendant. But anyway, here we're predominantly influenced by Caribbean music, calypso, soca, reggae. So when I was raving, I was a junglist. So I wanted to take elements of a sound that I felt was very British, which was drum and bass, jungle, and mix it with what I was already doing, the R&B. So I really thought about it. What kind of sound can I have in terms of tempo? R&B is like 92 BPM, around that speed. And I remember listening to some albums and like Stevie Wonder's As. That's like 126 BPM. That's quite fast. And there's a lot of tunes that's la 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 la. That kind of, it's tempo bit driven. So I thought it can be done. We can make dance music, but soulfully, some chords and all that stuff. So basically, I slowed down drum and bass, the technical aspect of drum and bass, how they attacked their programming with their samplers in terms of time stretching, the little edits and all that stuff. Slowed down the concept of that and sped up R&B chords, to get to a tempo of about, I started at 125 at first, and then found my way up to about 128. So I was working around that tempo. Lane and I was working together from 96 in that kind of style. This is way before any speed garage. Not saying speed garage wasn't around, but I didn't know anything about that music. I wasn't into that. So we were doing stuff 125, 126. I was working with breaks, using Recycle. Recycle was the plugin, not a plugin, it was a program then, which used to chop up your break and give you the individual hits. So you might take the funky drummer, say, and then you could copy. This is all from drum and bass. How jungle producers worked. They would cut the kick, the hi-hat, the snare, and maybe a little shuffle, and they take elements of the loop and then play back their drum pattern. So that's what I did on my early records, like Scrappy. That's not a loop. That's a loop that's been chopped up into individual hits, and then I've played back, taking the kick and the snare, playing that type of thing. And then my drums were, so basically breaks chopped up, reprogrammed back into a loop that had so many different elements. Most of the time I might have 3 kicks going on. I have a main kick, then I have a fill kick, then I might have another kick that might, like, just to back up the main kick or whatever, a couple of hi-hat patterns even. Just a bit unorthodox at that time. And then playing melodic chords on top, like real soulful kind of, even though I would say I can't actually play. I have no idea what I'm playing when I play keyboards. I haven't now. I do a little bit more, but back in the day, I could write something today, come back tomorrow and wouldn't have a clue what I had played, and it would take me a little while to find out. Well, okay, that was it. Do you know what I mean? And but I kind of sometimes I wish I had taken lessons to broaden that style. But yeah, the sound was I was aiming for a British authentic sound, and the only way I thought I could do that was to incorporate what I was already doing and mesh something special. And after doing that, I did that for a few years before I was linked to a two-step sound. I remember some school friends of mine liked what I was doing because I did a remix for Destiny's Child. In fact, I did their first single, No No No. Beyonce was 16. Beyonce was 16 years old. How old is she now? She's 30. That's a long time ago. But that went to number 5 in the national charts. And I did 2 mixes. I did an R&B mix, which is what I was kind of doing at the time. And at the same time, I did another remix of the original No No No, which was actually a ballad. And it was slow. It was like 62 BPM. And basically, I just played double time on it, 124, 125 or whatever, but the double time speed. Same approach with breaks and melodies and, and after a few years, I started to really hone in this sound. And then hooked up with a school friend of mine, brought me the a cappella of Whitney Houston, It's Not Right, It's Okay. And then it all started from there in terms for the garage two-step sound. And it just took off from there. And next thing I know, Matt Jam Lamont and Carter F. Brown are playing it on their radio show. And it was in their chart for like 6 weeks. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. And then we did Brandy's Angel, that used to get played all the time by Spoonie, Master Steps. Everybody was playing that track. But when I listen back to that tune, it still doesn't sound like anything else at that time. It really doesn't. And I'm kind of hoping that what I do now still doesn't really sound like anybody else. I remember one of the things that Jazzy told me a long time ago was in order to kind of succeed, you have to carve out your own sound, your own niche. And I think I may have done that. That's probably why I'm still here 15, 16 years later.